Yo guys, welcome to the last lap. Don't forget to drop a lovely, juicy 5-star rating if you're watching on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? And welcome to the Last Lap Show podcast. How is everyone doing today? I hope you are doing well. I'm Niran. I'm joined by my lovely co-host in this beautiful top, I've got to say.
Thank you.
For those listening who can't see it, or for those watching who can't feel it, this is sensational material.
It's cold.
It's cold outside, man.
Baby, it's cold
Christmas
outside.
times. Oh, I like that from you.
Yeah, that's it.
We're doing stuff in song today.
We are,
How's
always.
life? We're both feeling a little bit worse for wear at the moment.
Bit under the weather.
Yeah.
But all the better for being here and joined by our guest today, who's on for the second time. Mm-hmm. Mad. McLaren Fan TV.
McLaren Fan TV, Pit Stop Fracker. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Pleasure.
No problem at all.
This time it's not 5 a.m.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
This time we're not here for a Japanese Grand Prix and waiting 4 hours for it to start.
You came through clutch last time.
Yeah, 100%. So get me on for the Australian one. It's fine.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Not a problem.
But
Used to
obviously,
them hours.
I wanted to get you on specifically for this one because obviously one of the talking points is around McLaren because there's big change going on at McLaren. And I guess, should we start there? Because that is the news of the moment.
The team principal musical chairs.
Stupidly silly season. This doesn't
Yep.
happen with team principals. This happens with drivers all the time, but team principals, no.
This is a new one. Like completely
Uncharted.
we're uncharted territory. Tuesday morning, waking up to absolute chaos.
I had to lay in. At 10 a.m., I'm still in bed. I'm like 3 hours ago, it's posted that bloody Verstapp's gone to... I'm like...
I love the screenshots of people's phones where they're just getting multiple notifications within like a couple hours. Verstappen to Ferrari, Seidel to Sauber.
F1 graphics department was on overtime.
Yeah. Whoever's getting paid to make those graphics, they need to get paid more for that morning. That was
Yeah, I've never seen that before in F1. Like that many musical chairs going on, and it kind of makes me think.
Not with senior personnel.
Not with senior personnel. No. So for McLaren, it was a busy morning.
Yeah. Well, so I guess we should start with the first kind of, this all started with Binotto.
Dominoes fall,
Kind of like with Seb retiring, the dominoes fell after that.
Yeah.
But it all started with Binotto.
Yeah.
And then Fred Vasseur, which we talked about.
Freddie Vasseur.
Right choice? Ferrari?
Out of all the options out there and the realistic ones, I'm glad they went for someone not in-house. Because I was really concerned they were just going to promote an Italian man called Stefano.
You said it was the Jack Man last time.
Yeah, I was really... the Jack Man. Yo, I'm here.
One of
I'm
the
leading the whole thing now. I was really concerned they were going to do that. They were just going to rise like a promote from within, which like works well in certain situations. Don't get twisted, but I just didn't want Ferrari to hire someone because they were Italian again.
Yeah, if they decided we're going to bring in the head of strategy.
Yeah.
And strategy not doing too well.
Yeah, you get...
Well, there
It's
was talk of Lauren Mekis, who was, I think, I think he was head of like race operations, kind of what Stella, which we'll get onto when he first joined McLaren. I think he had a similar role to that. Right. So I was a bit concerned because it feels like with Ferrari, with the incompetencies we've seen in 22, that they felt like bringing someone in from the outside. But like,
is it really outside though, Fred?
It's true. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's that
inside
connection.
outside, isn't it?
Inside outside.
Yeah.
Is it enough outside to make a difference though?
I don't know. I think with that situation, they saw that Fred, he's at Sauber. Sauber's being overtaken by Audi. He's a Ferrari man. We need to get this guy into our team somehow. The Binotto situation was already on the ropes before he resigned. It looked like you're going to be pushed or you resign in that scenario. And they just wanted somebody that's already a team principal, already has that experience on the grid to kind of weather the ship, and somebody that's Charles Leclerc knows, because obviously Charles Leclerc was at Sauber and
ART before that as well.
ART, they have that relationship already.
Is that where Vasseur had been, by the way, before he went to
Vasseur founded ART.
Right, okay.
He was there with Rosberg and Hamilton and won the titles there,
Yes.
right? So he's got a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Would I say he's had a successful time at Sauber? They've been a bit mid for the last 10 years, middle of the road.
Very mid, yeah.
Considering their resources and everything like that. Obviously, he found Leclerc. He had Leclerc in the team. Leclerc did very well. Maybe John Elkan's decided, okay, we just need somebody that can mesh well with Leclerc and kind of decide. Because there was a bit of friction at Ferrari between, because Bonotto picked Sainz, that was his guy. And then you got Leclerc, who was picked by the previous regime. And there wasn't really, Bonotto was really like, I don't want to stick to a number one driver. I don't want to name a number one driver.
Yeah.
Fred Vasseur is just going to say, Leclerc, you're number one driver.
Yeah, he's going to come in and...
It feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which you can argue, you can't be competitive at the front and have two number one drivers. There always ends up being a bias towards one. Otherwise, you end up, you'll spread too many of those points over two drivers, and then someone else will come in, a Red Bull with Verstappen, for example,
And just take all the drivers.
and then just outscore you
Yeah.
because most of the points are going to one side of the garage.
The problem is with like just coming in and being like, cool, you are number one driver now, is that Carlos Sainz is going to go, nah.
And that's going to happen.
That is going to
Carlos Sainz, because he's going to be there, like, in the corner of the paddock, like, my son's number one.
Team
I'm a
science
random
ain't gonna.
driver.
Which obviously, look, none of this is confirmed, but it's very logical to make those connections. That obviously that Vasseur-Leclerc relationship is strong.
Yep.
So it makes sense that, and maybe Ferrari have seen somewhat of the. I mean, we saw the whole stop inventing. Like there's been a few times where it's felt like that I've seen the question being put out there. Should they be pulling in like if Leclerc was to really challenge Verstappen last year and Ferrari hadn't made their mistakes, I think Ferrari would have probably let themselves down by not prioritising Charles enough.
That could have been an issue. And it's happened before. We saw, let's go all the way back to 2007 when we had Alonso and Hamilton. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to commit to a number one driver there, fumbled the championship.
Yeah.
True.
By a point.
Because look at
Kimi came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
It's a good point.
they're gonna commit to one driver at least. That's what I think Fred's gonna do. Is it gonna cause friction? Maybe within the camp.
Definitely.
And that will be box office, and I will have my popcorn because I want to watch that. But for anybody that's out there that's a Leclerc fan, or a Ferrari fan that thinks Leclerc is the number one driver, you're gonna get that clarity.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, okay, so that was the kind of next domino to fall. So obviously Vasseur goes to Ferrari.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, well, this is why I want to lean on you a bit more for this, Mad, because you were saying earlier this year there was talk, murmurings around McLaren, from your perspective anyway, that Seidel could be going. Because it felt to me like it was out of nowhere, but actually maybe there was substance to it.
So
long
if
time
everybody
ago.
remembers all the way back to earlier in the year when there was Audi was like lots of strong rumors they're going to join Formula One and they want to make a deal. The first team they wanted to make a deal with was McLaren.
Yeah.
And for me and over at McLaren Fan TV, we thought, okay, that's because of Seidel. Seidel was already there. There's a connection there. Let's get this deal over the line. But obviously, there might have been some disagreements with Zach Brown on what kind of direction they're going to go with, and kind of Audi and McLaren that didn't go forward. Then I heard about Sauber having a deal with Audi, and then on McLaren Fan TV we were like, okay, so Seidel has history with Sauber. He was there in 2000.
Yeah,
Seven,
like the Vettel.
Around
when Vettel was
BMW
there.
Sauber days.
It was like 4 years he was there.
He was there for a long time. He lived there and so on. And he was at Porsche, Volkswagen, Audi. Everything comes together. And we thought, okay, when Audi do eventually come in, they're going to take Seidel because that's their man. And he already has Formula One experience. So we kind of put the wrong energy out there because this actually happened. And I was like, oh,
You
God,
manifested
what?
the
I manifested the
thing.
wrong thing. Once that Audi deal didn't go through with McLaren, and it went to Sauber, that we knew that Seidel would be thinking, okay, how do I get there? Because obviously, I think his family lives in Germany, the wind tunnels in Germany.
Yeah.
And another factor that a lot of people are not taking into account is that he's got a CEO job. So the only way he would have been staying at McLaren was if he takes Zach's job, and Zach's not going to give him a job.
No way.
And it's a very different job that Zach was doing as well, right? Because Fred was CEO, wasn't he?
Yeah, Fred
and
was
team
CEO,
principal.
yeah.
So Fred was both.
Yeah.
So Seidel could be both, but it's not guaranteed.
I think in the statement they said they might be looking for a team principal. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's not. He might decide to be the team principal, but I think it's just a larger project. He's at home, basically. He knows, he's familiar with the team. It's a promotion in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you can't really turn that down. And Zach Brown could have gone the wrong way about it and said, okay, look, you're contracted to 2025. I'm
Yeah.
going to put you on gardening leave until that contract's up.
Yeah.
But obviously they have a good relationship and decided. And it kind of makes me think as well that Seidel told Zach a long time ago.
Well, I think Zach said that Seidel had told him like middle of 22, around then, that I'm not going to renew at the end of 25 when my contract ends.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go to another team. And then Zach kind of put two and two together. Like you've done a little bit. Oh, it's
Well, it's going to be
of
Audi
course it is.
Sauber.
Audi Sauber,
When are they joining? Yeah.
But how big of a loss is that for McLaren, do we think?
See, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, how is that actually gonna How do we think that's gonna affect McLaren? Because obviously they promoted Andrea Stella, right, from within.
From within.
Nice.
Again,
Ex-Ferrari man.
I believe they've done that to limit the amount of letters they have to change on his door.
Just get the Tipex and just every S just
Yeah,
remove
just
the
Every
S.
single hoodie, jumper that had AS on there, they don't need to change it.
Exactly, rebranding, calm. You're living your life. But I guess you're the most,
Yeah, so
you're actually qualified.
I was waiting for a bit more insight. You were like, that's it.
no,
That's all about.
that is quality insight.
That's
right
my
there, honestly,
insight.
Yeah.
This is the insight that I bring to the table.
But
boys.
okay, so Zach had a lot of time to think about it because he knew that Seidel was going.
He did.
He didn't know he was going to go in 2022. He thought he was going to go in 2025.
But he knew the writing was on the wall.
Knew his writing was on the wall. He's probably scouting who's going to replace that situation. It's different to other situations at other teams because he was just the team principal. He wasn't the CEO. Zach was doing a lot of the media, handling the whole team. And a lot of other teams, that guy, let's say your Toto Wolff's, has to deal with the whole thing, the whole scenario. So if Zach left, that would be a nightmare. But with Andrea Seidel, with Stella as well, Stella was his number 2. He kind of understands the day-to-day operations that's happening within the team. He held a lot of different roles at McLaren as well. So
he was head of ops, he was performance director, and then he was executive director.
Exactly. So
everything.
And he was at McLaren when it was the dark.
He was the only guy in board.
This is before. This is the dark. This is like night.
Well, he joined in 2015.
Yeah.
Where you were 9th.
Yeah.
And then you were 6th, 9th, 6th, and then 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
That's impressive.
You can tell I just made a video.
He's a closet McLaren fan.
Yeah, he is, man.
That is
About
a closet
Albon.
McLaren fan. But like you said, he was there in the dark days.
Yes.
So he knows what bad looks like.
Yeah.
Yep.
GP2 engine.
And GP2 engines, the whole lot, the whole Honda debacle, all of that. So I think he's going to steady the ship a little bit, just carry on what Seidel was doing.
Nothing's going to change overnight.
I don't think nothing's going to. I think because he was responsible for the day-to-day running of the team, like we're talking about pit crews, race day, everything like that, that's not going to be an issue for me. I think even he said in his statement, he wants to kind of look at the factory side of things, how things develop with James Key and how we're going to move the car forward. That would be the question marks for me on Andrea Stella, but everything else I'm not really too worried about. And a lot of the responsibility of a team principal within McLaren is kind of held back because Zach does a lot of it.
Yes.
Zach does the media, Zach does the driver
But it allows
contracts.
them to focus on the stuff that they need. Like, I feel like part of the reason Bernardo didn't work is maybe he was stretched too thin based off his skill set. And it's like they know what, like, Stella's, been at McLaren. This is going to be his 9th season at McLaren.
Yeah.
He also had 14 seasons at Ferrari.
Yeah.
He was like in the Schumacher era.
Yeah.
He was
knows
like
the sport inside out, knows success inside out as well.
Mate, all of those.
People in the paddock know him.
Mate, you know when Alonso was struggling to get past Petrov, and the team radio was like, "We know how talented you are. Use all your talent."
Yeah.
That was Stella. So,
If you asked me 10 years ago if Stella would be the team principal for McLaren, I would
That's
have
mad.
laughed. I would have
That's
been, there's no way at all. But I would rather have somebody that's been in Formula One for that long, held lots of different roles, in leadership roles as well. He's in senior roles. He's not just somebody that was quite so Bonotto, when he had his promotion, he was obviously the technical officer, chief technical officer.
Yeah.
He was dealing on the engine zone, but he wasn't really there on race day dealing with the day-to-day running of a team and dealing with the politics within that.
I don't think his skill set aligned with what it means to be a team principal as much as Stella's does.
Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing with team principals. Obviously, when people say, oh, who is Stella? Who is this guy? We don't know him. And you'd rather want somebody that's a team principal that's known.
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes a false narrative because a lot of the team principals now when they did get that opportunity, they didn't have any experience as a team principal. We saw Wolf was like an investor. Toto Wolf's an investor. And then we had like Christian Horner. He just came in fresh. He was like, they took a real gamble on Christian Horner. So it's just
from like he just had a GP2 team, didn't
Yeah.
he? You know, he's just Arden.
so you're really looking at you're really just looking at how can this person lead a team? Do they have leadership skills and so on? And can they manage the day-to-day operations and everything that's going on within the team? I think in New McLaren as well, like I just said, the politics are going to be less for him because Zach would deal with that.
This is why I don't think they needed a big name necessarily. Like I think there would have been pressure if Zach wasn't taking control of that, but they can bring in.
He's doing a good job of that as well. I think if you were coming in as the CEO of McLaren, just like nobody knows who you are. Like, not nobody knows, but like you've not done that sort of role before. That's crazy. That's completely.
Look what Zach had to do when he got in. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stuff. He had to change engine supplier. He had to like reformat the whole team, get the spirit, morale up, change the whole brand, get new deals. Because there was a point in time where our car had like 2 sponsors on it.
Yeah.
And now it's just flooded with sponsors.
That time where it was just blank orange, crazy.
This is why I'm quite positive about Vasseur as well, because he's got that. Like I remember when he joined. When he joined Sauber from Renault, I think they had a deal for Honda engines that within his first like week, he just like ripped up and was like, no, we're not going Honda, which obviously maybe long term might have not been the best choice, but he's prepared to make those big calls and those big decisions.
Yeah.
With Stella, he's kind of steadying the ship somewhat.
He just comes into Ferrari. He's like, we're not going with Ferrari next season.
Yeah,
we're getting Mercedes engine.
Yellow livery.
Yeah.
Done.
And I think the pressure's less as well because
There's less eyeballs.
And the plan at McLaren is much more long term than immediate success.
Yes.
So Vasseurs under more pressure because he's at Ferrari
Yeah.
and they're expected to be winning right now.
Yeah.
Now, next season.
With McLaren, it's much more long term. We're looking at 2024, 2025, 2026. And it's about how he sets that up. And
Before we move on from McLaren,
yeah.
if it wasn't Stella, were there any other names that you would have liked to have seen?
I always thought it was going to be within. And I thought it was going to be maybe somebody from the IndyCar team or somebody from Extreme E. I forgot the guy's name. Obviously, it's now McLaren's team. It was Mercedes.
Yeah.
It was one back-to-back constructors. That team principal there.
Oh, the Formula E team. Yeah.
Apologies, I don't know. I forgot his name. But I thought.
No, I know you mean.
I
Yeah.
thought it could have been him. But I always thought it was going to be somebody outside of Formula One, not somebody within. I didn't think it was going to be like randomly Bonotto.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like Paddy Lowe come out of nowhere.
Well, a lot of people are saying Bonotto, which, obviously I can see where people get it. But I just think, like, he needs to go to a technical role.
And that's why I was so surprised that Ferrari let him go. Or
Yeah.
I
guess it's kinda hard
thought they
to-
were just gonna shift his role somewhere. Like, them like, oh, this is a promotion, but it's not really a promotion. They're like, just go back to the factory.
Yeah.
Type of promotion.
We'll put you the same minute, just
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah. Or because you can't clearly Ferrari made a good car. They didn't have like a terrible car. They had a car that won races.
Can't argue with that. Yeah.
So for you to lose an asset like that,
Yeah.
it's a problem. You could have even brought in support.
Yeah. The
For him to
options
do the other
for the options for Mattia aren't massive. But talking of back to Seidel briefly,
Yeah.
going to Sauber.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty big win for them, isn't it? Surely.
It should be huge, realistically. I mean, obviously, with the future backing of Audi, I think that's just going to be a sort of one of those match made in heaven sort of things, with Seidel going there. I think they've just, he's got to turn around a bit of a ship that, kind of has been, as you said, a bit mid over the last few years.
Very mid.
And
very mid.
for the facilities that they have, like the wind tunnel they have and all that sort of shit.
And they've had financial difficulties and all that, but obviously Audi's covered in.
Yeah,
to,
I mean, that shouldn't really be a
alleviate that.
problem. Yeah, they should be able to alleviate that. Poor end to last season as well.
So bad.
Really poor. I mean, I don't know what percentage of points they earned from the first half of last season, but it must be at least 80%, I reckon, of the points that they earned in the first half of the season. So he's got something to turn around, but yeah, it's a big win for Sauber.
It is a big win, and it's. I think they're a major threat to other teams because they are making these type of moves. They've got all the infrastructure ready. They have the finances as well. They've got somebody that was Seidel, maybe a top 3 principal on the grid to kind of guide them forward. We're going to probably see them make moves in terms of drivers as well later on down the line and try to set up the lineup. So when they get to 2026, they're all set up. They're basically doing what Mercedes was doing in the early 2010s and kind of setting themselves up for when the new regs come in. we're
gonna
there.
go crazy.
But this is like my perception of that team now. Even though I knew Audi were coming in anyway, just getting Seidel, who's such a respected name and has done such a good job at McLaren, I think just gives so much more stock. And now you can make a compelling argument, which I think this is why I'm so excited for like the next few years. I really do think it's gonna close up because you can make a compelling argument for loads of teams now to join that top battle. You can make Alpine have got the next best car. McLaren infrastructure,
unbelievable lineup,
getting there, unbelievable lineup moving forward. Aston Martin, obviously, once that new factory is complete, and Lawrence Stroll's gonna put the money that. Even if he's losing money, he's still going to put money in. Yeah. Now, obviously, with Sauber, you've got that, that faith, and with Seidel in charge, I think that's really.
And then you've got Williams.
Exciting. Albon. They've got. That's all you need. You just need Alex Albon. That's it.
And you got Haas. Haas has got America. Haas has come.
All you need is Alex Albon.
Honestly, I think you made a good point there, and I think as the cost cap comes into the effect, because. People think cost cap was going to be an immediate thing, how it's going to affect teams, because
no, never.
It's going to take 3, 4, 5 years because
your facilities aren't included in that.
Exactly. If you've got infrastructure there already, you're at an advantage. Yep. So that's why you see your teams like Aston Martin and McLaren saying, "Okay, we need to step this up, infrastructure-wise, because it's not possible. We can have more wind tunnel time and same amount of money as them, but we can't build a better car because they have better facilities, and they probably have the money." To have higher number of staff. They've got the expertise there in terms of the engineers because they've been working on those cars for so long and they know how to use those wind tunnels. As the years go by, as they get less and less wind tunnel time, it's going to hamper them more and more and it's going to bring them down that way. And these guys are going to be brought forward. And when you get to a point where it's like 2025, we're looking at more, hopefully, an even grid.
This is a bit of a tangent, guys, so bear with me here. But do you remember the last time when there was like a cost cap, or they wanted to introduce a cost cap in like 20? I want to say it was like 10, and they were like, "Yeah, let's get all these new teams into Formula One." Obviously, we've got Caterham, we've got Manor, we've got HRT. Let's just do that again. Let's do that again with the current cost cap. Just get random names like Stefan GP and US.
Tommo GP.
Tommo GP today. USG. There was that US team as well that was meant to launch.
There's this fella in Hong Kong who wants to set up a team.
Oh yeah,
he's gone on record. Yeah,
let him do it.
Like this multi-billionaire.
Yeah,
who wants to set up an F1 team out of Hong Kong. Maybe this is the new world we're living in.
A lot of the top teams are reluctant to let anybody.
If they're not letting Andretti in,
Andretti
they're not
on the
letting
door.
some random geezer from Hong Kong set up a team. That's not happening.
We can't start a team. It's not happening. They're not going to let us in.
Nah, we're building our legitimacy.
They treat it like a private club. Okay, obviously they've got the pie. They want to split it their own way and stuff like that. I would love to see a 12-team grid.
If Haas, by the way, is saying, "No, we can't allow new
Mate, there's
teams
talk
in," then we need to elbow them in because they've just got.
Well, when it comes to engine, there's been rumours about Ford, which they've not denied, potentially interested in 2026 engine regs. Honda have put themselves on the list of actual, submissions for 2026 as well. They're back again. Like, that's the thing. We can definitely get to a 12-team competitive 12-car grid.
So easily. It's just about the teams actually not being dickheads.
Basically.
Letting someone in.
Basically. Just stop being dickheads.
Please, for the love of God.
It's calm.
Well, they're looking at it like a franchise model. They don't want to let people in the club, like same like in the NBA or the NFL. They don't want just random teams.
Short-sighted, man. You're short-sighted.
It's done.
Short-sighted.
Okay, well, just someone link up with Andretti, sort of keep the branding in there, like write Andretti on the side, but it's Ford. Just say it's Ford, but it's got Andretti written on the car. Boom, now they can't say no.
I think in 10 years, the whole grid's going to look different. It's going to be sick.
Someone's going to take over AlphaTauri in the next 2 years.
Oh, easy.
I definitely think the grid is realizing in this day and age, you cannot win a championship with being a customer team.
Yeah, 1,000.
Like buying an engine from somebody else. That's not. You have to have a deal there with somebody.
Yeah.
I think the Red Bull Renault days.
That's over.
That'll be the last of it, I think.
Yeah. Bring back Minardi, mate. Fuck the feds. Let them make their own engine.
Imagine that.
Minardi engine.
Well, we're talking to bring him back. Schumacher.
Yeah, man.
Mick.
Mikal.
Mercedes.
Yeah, man. Reserve driver.
Replacing, I guess, Van Dorn, De Vries, who were their kind of reserve drivers. Van Dorn's gone to Aston Martin now, and De Vries is now at AlphaTauri for 2023.
Yeah.
I'm happy for Mick, and I'm not surprised. I think this was a matter of time.
It made sense, didn't it? German driver whose dad has had obviously links at, I was about to say at the club. No, this isn't a football podcast. At the team.
Well, Mercedes paid for Michael Schumacher's debut at Jordan.
Yeah.
They paid like 200k, didn't they, or something like that?
Yeah.
They gave Eddie Jordan the bag to give him the seat, and then he got P7 in qualifying.
Eddie was like,
Spa.
shit. This guy's
And then Benetton were like, yoink.
The history is there.
Take him.
And they want to carry on that history by bringing Mick in. You're looking at somebody that's Formula 3, Formula 2 champion.
Yeah.
Didn't go too well at Haas.
Yeah, I mean, he obliterated some cars. I hear that, but it wasn't like
Pace
that
wasn't a
bad.
massive
I felt
issue.
like the pace was all right. I think it's a good step for him, especially to just stay in the paddock as well. Because I was a little bit concerned for him in terms of like, yeah, he's cool, he's lost his seat, and then, well, he might still be around for like an Audi seat in 3 years. It's like things are going to have changed by then. There'll be like a new kid on the block. There'll be new sort of drivers that are more attractive by then. So it's good for him to just be able to stay in the paddock. Like obviously with Daniel Ricciardo going to Red Bull. It's good, just like keep your foot in the door. Just say like, "Oh, there's a seat available there,
It's a people business. Like,
It's my cover letter."
Your face has to be on the paddock. You can't be outside, out of mind. You have to be there if you want to get a seat again. We saw that with Albon last year.
Yeah, million.
Because he was at Red Bull, he was there, got that Williams seat.
yeah.
So
right.
you have to be in and about. And Mick's going to go from, he's been at Haas, he's going to Mercedes, he's going to state-of-the-art facilities.
He's going to learn a lot, actually.
He's going to
as
learn
well,
a lot.
to be fair.
He's behind Lewis and Russell. He's going to learn a lot and be in that situation where it was a bit awkward for him to be at Haas, especially with all the crashes. And those crashes mean something for those teams.
Yeah, if he crashes it on the sim, it's all calm.
It's all right. If he crashes,
Unless he breaks
if
the
he
sim.
crashes it in a, if he crashes in a practice session, random practice session at Mercedes,
Only
guess
Mick-
what? They'll just fix the car.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Only
fine.
Mick Schumacher could find a way to crash in the sim and break the sim. The Destructors champion.
Toto-
Really
Toto
full
the-
R factor. Just
Toto, the Sim's on fire. What's going on?
Is micking it again. Oh, well,
did
sorry.
it? Oh,
I'm sorry, Mick. I'm joking, of
no, we're
course.
joking,
No,
yeah.
no, listen. I think given the pace that he showed, demonstrated in Formula One, I don't think pace was a massive issue. I just think that, for a team like Haas, they don't need a driver like that. That they need someone who they can rely on. They're not going to be prepared to take
unfortunately,
that
it was
same
just one of
risk.
those matches that just didn't work.
It didn't
in
work
terms of
out.
what Haas need in terms of what Mick Schumacher is as a driver.
But you know what? That Alex took the L. He was off the grid for a year, came back doing well. I think also it's not just, it's like anything in life. You learn most from the things that go wrong. And it's like, it's not worked out for Mick. He needs to understand how much of it was in his control, how much of it was just it wasn't a right fit for Haas.
and how much of it was ironically him just being out of control.
Do you know what? Honestly, I think with Mick, being in that situation and then being in this one, it's like completely different. It's different ballpark. I think the pressure of just not crashing
Yeah.
at Haas, when it's like they've got so little money compared to everybody else, they can't afford any of that. And now you have to think about Steiner's thinking of having Mazepin and him at the same time on the team, 2 rookies. What did you expect to happen? If you've got no money, you put 2
21
rookies in a car,
was
what do you expect?
They just did not care.
It was almost
why
one
did
of
they
them.
turn up?
I think it was almost like, right, we're getting so much money from this Mazepin ute.
Yeah.
We don't give a fuck what happens.
Yeah.
Like if we're last by 3 seconds, a lap, boom, calm, whatever. We're getting the paycheck.
What if the logic was they're so slow that they won't crash because they're not near anybody?
Well, that's probably the minimum thing they were hoping for,
Yeah,
and then that they were like 2 of the most, especially Mick.
They didn't think about Latifi.
They didn't think about Latifi. They didn't think about them just crashing with each other or just on their own. Yeah, there was some
Bad decision
It was
making.
Bahrain. We shouldn't really talk about this for very long, but it was Bahrain, like just like 2021, like corner 4,
Oh, God.
Mazepin out, restart.
I
Corner
predicted
4.
that. I tweeted that before that happened. I swear to God, I tweeted Mazepin out turn 4 before it happened. Before it happened, because I just knew.
You called the side, mate.
I called the listen.
He knew, man.
Magic
He knew.
Mahab, man.
Oracle.
Chick mad.
So, do you think Schumacher gets back on the grid 24?
Not 24. Because if something happens at Williams, maybe. If something happens where
If
maybe
Albon was
Albon
to
moves,
leave,
or
yeah.
I think Sargent will still be there.
Yeah.
but it depends on
But the thing is as well, like
situation.
both Albon and Sargent were bought in. Capito specifically went for them too. So he got Sargent in the young driver program
And then he's dipped.
when he joins.
Yeah.
Now Capito's gone. So you were saying earlier about with Bonotto bringing in Sainz, and that was his, and then he inherited Leclerc.
Yeah.
You do wonder, obviously, it would depend massively who comes in at Williams as well. Takes over, and whether they see Sargent and Albon as being the future.
Lads, F1 is so cutthroat. Yeah. This whole Nico Hulkenberg does like 2 races and then he gets back on legacy settings, XP. Yeah. That does not happen often, yeah. Stoffel Van Dorn, backup driver at Mercedes for the longest time, never got a sniff of getting back into Formula 1.
I still feel bad for Van Dorn.
I still feel so
I'm
bad
like,
for
Van Dorn, come on, man.
This sport did
I
him
didn't think
so
he was that
dirty.
bad at McLaren. I was like,
He was against
not that
Fernando
bad. He's against
Alonso.
Against Fernando
His
Alonso.
rookie season.
It's a long day. But if he, with the pedigree that Van Dorn had, is in that sort of like, yeah, cool, I'm a Mercedes reserve driver. And I know De Vries managed to, but again, quite rare. And also De Vries has the pedigree of being an F2 champion and a Formula E champion. I think if Mick Schumacher went off and did something like that, went off and like in 2024 was like, right, cool, I'm gonna keep my Mercedes reserve role so that if, you know, by some madness they need me, cool, I'm there. But I'm gonna go off and do Formula E. I'm gonna go win Formula E. I'm gonna go do something crazy. Then cool, he puts himself back in the
Albon
shop
did
window.
DTM. There's like Super
I
Formula.
feel like that's rare occasions though, because how much times have we seen talented drivers, young drivers, get that opportunity in Formula One, get dropped, never come back?
Yeah. Because there's always a new conveyor belt. Like the F2 grid next season is due to be ridiculous because the F3 one of this season was mental. So there's going to be like
Behrman,
like
there's
Hadjar.
Stanek as well. Like they will
say Maloney as well.
Maloney,
I mean, and the guys that were in F2 last season who, like your Dennis Haugers, who it didn't quite work, but could still do well.
Porsche,
like Mick Schumacher was like
Arasa.
E9 in his first season F2.
There's so
nuts.
many names.
People are knocking on the door at all times. So if you've had your opportunity already,
Yeah,
it's hard for you.
yeah, it is. It's tough.
There's absolutely no guarantee in this sport beyond any. Although what there is a guarantee of is that doesn't even work as a segue. I tried to do it smooth, but it's not. No, we've come up with another little section for this, and we wanted to basically discuss around 2023. So with all of the drivers, all of the teams in 2023, if it was up to us, 3 as individuals, to put together. And you can't just say all McLaren. To put together
You got me. Oh my God.
our perfect team. So 1 driver, 2 driver, team principal, maybe pit crew, maybe strategists,
Okay.
maybe even livery, based off what we think we're going to see in 23. Who would we go with? I guess let's start with the more mundane stuff. Who are we picking for pit stop? Because your boys dropped quickest pit stop in 2022, didn't
Legendary stuff. They've been in the gym, creatine, all of that. Bigger wheels. I was shocked.
Get the
I was
drug
like, you
tests
lot
out,
are on
man.
smoke. I don't know what's going on here. You lot are doing crazy pit stops. Like,
they? Liver King.
obviously, I'm going to pick. Can I pick McLaren for this one?
You can
I'm
pick-
gonna be
you're
biased.
allowed to pick McLaren.
I want
It's fine.
McLaren.
It's
Obviously,
fine.
I could pick Red Bull, but they're the 2 that was outstanding this season. Those 2 teams.
They seem to have
Stops.
it's Red Bull and McLaren, isn't it?
and it was a big change as well because the tires and the wheels were much bigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they were much heavier. A lot of teams that were quite good last year kind of fell off. But
Getting
not
some
clearly.
1.9 still is crazy at this point.
I would still go Red Bull just because consistently
I
they
was
were
about
still
to
really
say.
quick.
How much?
I think-
you see the top 10? It's just Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez.
I was
Sergio Perez.
about to
quickest
say,
stop.
like, McLaren obviously have that number 1 spot, and it's definitely between them and Red Bull, but Red Bull consistently, like, every single pit stop's like a 2.2.
Yeah.
Like, 2.3, 2.2, 2.4.
That Milton Keynes
1.9.
gyms, they've been in them.
That's all that's in Milton Keynes, bro. That's all they can do.
Just
There's no distraction.
Gyms and roundabouts.
That's it.
Fitness on the roundabouts, man. Just riding in circles.
In the middle of the roundabout, just doing...
Yeah, so I'm going for McLaren pit stop.
All right.
You're going
Strategy? Who
say Ferrari.
I was going to say, yeah, it's Ferrari.
who drops the bomb least
Drop the...
from a strategy
I don't think
point of view?
McLaren have been great strategy-wise in the last couple of years.
I don't think, maybe, obviously it's always working with the driver as well as just making an objectively correct call. I think Mercedes are a bit wobbly on the old strategy front as well, to be honest. I think they were so good in that dominant era that they, I'd argue, maybe got a bit complacent. There's
think
been
they
quite
just-
a few times where they've not.
Yeah.
Like them and Lewis just not seeing eye to eye. Them and George not seeing eye to eye.
Yeah. I feel like they don't listen to their drivers that much. I feel like we constantly get a situation where Lewis is kind of like, yeah, I want to do this. And the team are like,
which is part of strategy. Like it's part of your strategic decision making has to be listening to the drivers.
Yeah, the drivers are the ones out there. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And we saw with George, when he was at Williams, he was dictating the strategy quite a lot. So then he went into Mercedes. He was like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times he was like, can I do this? And they were like, no. And I was like, but this is the right strategy.
But
so
why? I want to play.
I don't know. Maybe you get a bit, maybe you get a bit complacent when your car's fast.
That's
When
what
your
I
car's
mean.
so fast
So I
down
wouldn't
the
pick
road,
Mercedes.
I wouldn't pick Mercedes just because.
Who am I even picking
I
for
don't know,
this?
man. I'm not picking Ferrari. I'll tell you.
I'm not okay. We're definitely not picking Ferrari. I think Red Bull are obviously a shout, but they've also made some blunders that I think would have been capitalised upon more if Ferrari knew what the fuck they were doing.
Do you know who I'm picking? True. I'm picking Aston Martin.
I was thinking about
Because Aston Martin, they've got a terrible quality car. How much places do they make up? with just
Stroll
their strategy?
and Vettel, the amount of overtakes that they make in 22, they were like two of the highest.
The only thing was, did the Vettel in Abu Dhabi strategy
Yeah, that
was
wasn't
a little
great.
bit mad, but that is about it. That is about it. to be
They
fair.
rolled the
They were
dice.
like sayonara. You're
They rolled the
like, let's
dice.
give you a bad strategy.
They
think
rolled
they-
the dice
yeah.
for no reason because he was already. I think it was almost like they were
but-
already in a good place. They were like, "What the fuck do we do now?"
I think they thought they had to roll the dice because they had to get a certain, like they had to get at
Certain
least
points,
6 points, I think, which obviously for Aston Martin was always going to be difficult. So I think they rolled the dice, anticipating that they'd have to. If they had played it conservative, they would have got the points in the end.
Yeah.
But they
The obvious choice is Red Bull, obviously.
the obvious choice.
the obvious choice is Red Bull, but I still think there's a couple of mistakes in there every now and again.
Yeah, I mean Haas did over Mick quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I hear
Oh,
that.
what was that?
Might
What was that
shout.
strategy Mick had in Spain? That was horrible. Horrible.
Mate,
I felt so bad for it.
there were a few times where they completely pulled the rug out of him. I'm trying to just think of anyone other than Red Bull who's really.
I couldn't tell you a
shone.
single Alfa Romeo strategy. This year.
McLaren of like
McLaren, sometimes we ever won like
It's-
I was like, oh my god,
it's all
type
or
of
nothing.
strategy.
And then sometimes it's like-
sometimes it's like why? Well, why have
There's
we
no
not done this?
consistency there.
I just think Red Bull have had every team's had issues, but I think Red Bull is the team that you would
100%.
trust
You would want to, yeah.
most as
But
a
to be
driver.
different, I'm going to go Aston Martin as well.
Yeah,
That's a good shout.
I was saying Aston Martin.
Cool. All right. Reserve driver. Who's back up?
So can this be anyone, or does it have to be someone who's a reserve driver right now?
I think.
I bring some ghosts.
No, you know what? I think reserve driver. Let's just pick anyone who could be.
Oh, young driver.
You
Don't
can't
be
pick,
under
like-
21 maybe. I don't know.
Mika Hakkinen probably wouldn't. I know he still wants
Yeah,
sabbatical.
in the
but-
bill.
Sabbatical.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for
back.
I mean, you could go for it if you really.
Could you imagine he just like next year was just like, I'm back. That's it. This is my sabbatical's over.
It's
I'm
like,
ready.
it says in my contract I'm still a McLaren driver. I'm just on sabbatical.
Got like
Bye.
West at the top of it.
One of you guys need to leave.
I patted him on the shoulder at F1 Arcade. I was really drunk.
So
Oh,
that's
wow.
better.
I called him a
But
legend.
he's
Called him a legend.
He's a legend.
That legend. And he was
He's
like
gonna love that.
terrified, probably.
Don't touch me.
You can smell the Jaeger in your breath.
Probably. Yeah. No, what was I drinking? Gin, lemonade. I
Oh
think it
wow,
was, Yeah.
you sophisticated.
Gin and juice.
Sipping on gin and juice.
That's it. Who's reserve? Who's
Who's
reliable backup when the vid comes to play, and then you've got a.
I think you've got to sing the famous Polish driver's name right now.
That one.
Yeah.
Robert Kubica
Kubica?
brings the bag, which
Does bring the bag.
is a factor.
That is a factor,
The
actually.
all in money.
Yeah.
And how important is it for a reserve driver to be good versus how important of it is that they bring in money that can make the team better?
Yeah. Because ultimately, they're not exactly going to drive very often if you're a reserve driver.
That's it.
If the COVID comes in, then yeah, you might do one race. But
People always pick like, I even do this on F1 Manager, like, let me just get the best driver possible in the reserves.
young.
And he's never going to drive. So what's the point
yeah.
of me having some like extraordinary driver there that's going to probably threaten
They'll
my
be
other drivers?
demoralised and they won't want to.
yeah.
I'm thinking.
Can you not choose Hulkenberg because he's actually on the grid this year?
No, they can't. No,
Yeah.
He's a number one driver.
Yeah, he's actual driver, isn't he? now?
Yeah.
Number
No,
one,
you know what? I'm going to say someone from F2 who I think's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Tad Pusher. I think Tad Pusher was very unfortunate this year. Or maybe Jack Doohan, actually. No, Jack Doohan.
You pick Jack Doohan?
Jack Doohan.
I'm picking Ayuma Awasa.
Baller. very quick in 20.
Unbelievable. I still
he's
think
a
about
baller.
that France drive.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
unbelievable stuff.
Walked it. Which
Walked
is
it.
very difficult to do. Works on his consistency. I think he'll be right up there
Yeah.
in 23. Okay, doing Iwasa.
I'm stealing him from Red Bull, even though he just signed for them. I'm having Zayn Maloney, mate. For the pure reason that he's from Barbados.
Yeah.
And that's wavy.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
And he was cooking end of last
And he was
season.
cooking.
I was like,
Mate,
what is he
if he'd
doing
not
right
had
now?
like as many incidents at the start of F3 season last year, he wins the championship.
Mid-season, he wasn't even in the top 10.
Yeah.
He was nowhere near. And then all of a
Nowhere
sudden,
near.
like when it was like Monza and Hungary and that, I was like, where's this guy come from?
After burners were switched on.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good shout.
Cool. Good stuff from us.
I think he's back in Barbados now because I follow him on Instagram and I saw him post like yesterday.
Easy for some,
back
innit?
home. What a life, man.
Wish I was from.
Bet it's not snowing over there.
Definitely not.
All right, livery. Livery. Obviously, we don't know what 23 livery, but based off what we saw this year, what would your livery be?
You know what?
Maybe also it could be a livery. Maybe it could be an F2 team livery. Maybe why not? Let's spread it outside of F1. What livery would you want to see on your car?
I'm not even going F2. I'm going to put the McLaren Arrows IndyCar livery.
Oh,
But that's better than the McLaren livery.
I like. Yeah,
Yeah, I hear that. That's actually good. That's a good.
That's
shout.
a good one.
facts. I agree. That's a
Got
great.
some good liveries over there in IndyCar.
They do.
Yeah. I'm
bangers.
going for one of the past. That
Ooh.
was back today.
Go on.
Oh, go on.
It's going to be orange as well. Orange arrows, mate. Woo! We're bringing them back. The waviest, not even wavy, but just like most standout livery ever. 1000%.
Okay, so can we do old liveries?
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, man.
I'm going old.
Whatever,
For the feds.
whatever.
I might go for that Jaguar HSBC
Oh,
livery.
it was
Green one.
between, Jag,
Okay.
Old school.
serious.
Nah. Okay. I'm going JGTC, now known as Super GT. Not Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Castrol,
viewers.
Supra, Toms.
Okay, now we're just going crazy. That is amazing, bro. That is,
Bruv, that
went deep
that
in his bag
Castrol
right there.
livery would look mad on an F1
fuck
car.
it. Repsol from MotoGP. Slap that on a Formula One car.
Mate, that look unreal.
That would look unreal.
It would look sick.
That would look nuts. That livery would be
Should I do McLaren bias and just say I want a West livery combined with
that's the greatest.
you know,
That's actually the greatest.
that's
That's the
legendary.
goat. That's the goat.
Marlboro.
Marlboro. Not combined.
original
half
bring
the
back-
car. One side is
Like
West,
VAR
one side's
did.
Marlboro.
Yeah, I mean, they allow drivers to change their helmet designs all the time. now. I'm
No,
sure, I'm
one
sure they'd
thing I
allow
want
that.
McLaren to do, if you're watching this, guys, put the names on the side of the car now. Now. I've had enough.
Yeah, because
I need to see Norris. No, put the first name. Oscar Lando on the side of the car.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay, they
yeah,
used
that
to do
works.
that in
Yeah.
it with the
That
yeah,
works.
that's gas. That would
Yeah.
be so sick.
same number of letters
Even
as
for
well.
one race, please.
Yeah, same 5 letters each as well. That kind of works.
Yeah, that's cool.
They put
important
bloody
from a
Juan
designer's
Pablo
point of
Montoya
view.
on the side of the car. So 5 letters is fine.
Yeah, but they didn't have his whole name.
Yeah, I know, but still, I was like, that's a long one. Just
Imagine they carried on to like Heki Kovalainen just on the side of the car the whole
They just run out of space. You know when
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you write something, you have to write the letters really small at the
Yeah,
end
at
because
the
you don't
end.
have enough
I can't
space.
see it. I can't see anything.
Heki Kovalainen.
Okay, team principal.
Gone to Steiner. Vibes.
That would be banner.
Vibes.
It would be Banner. Would it
I
be
get-
successful?
I get it exclusive on his book as well.
Yeah, survive
So
to drive.
it's a vibe to drive. Easy, bro.
Oh, yeah, I need that book.
I need that book
need that
yesterday.
right now.
So picking out of the current
Crop.
crop of team principals. Seidel. I love him.
Just rubbed it in his face there.
I know.
That's outrageous. I wouldn't have
I know.
Well,
That's
breakdown
a
right now.
Salting wound. But I'm going Seidel.
I'm going Christian Horner.
Very, yeah.
I need
He's
a
the
guy-
one that you want if you need backing in
Yeah.
any situation. Do you know what I mean?
I need my team principal to back my drivers no matter what, even if they're wrong. Don't matter.
You
Back
could,
them.
you could have run someone over. Christian Horner will be like, yeah, but should he have been underneath the car? You know?
Yeah, Christian Horner's like, if the streets made a team principal.
The streets.
But he set up Arden in his back garden.
Is that why he called it Arden?
No, but I just realised that right.
That's crazy.
He set up Arden in his back garden, and within 8 years, took him to like one of the
One F3000.
Yeah, this
No, I'm bringing them in.
Yeah,
I'm bringing them in.
fair.
We need someone that's hated.
Sometimes you got to embrace it, ain't you?
Yeah, 100%.
My team, can we do team names as well, by the way? My team name's Vibes GP. Because I've got Gunter Steiner, I've got a Don from Barbados. We're going on the sickest holidays, bro. Season ends, off season.
Yeah, man, your off-season party.
We're going Caribbean.
You're
boat
off-season team.
Yeah, that's it.
The whole season's geared up to go on the off-season.
Yeah, on Vibes.
Headquarters in Gibraltar. Right.
No, Panama. Needs to be a tax haven.
Yes, true.
Tax haven.
Yeah, no tax. We're not paying no tax, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
None.
Okay. Team principal's done. Yeah. Okay. Team name.
Or not. Oh, so team name. Don't even know. The Slayers.
The Slaters.
The Slayers.
Was that like
doing EastEnders.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The Slayers.
Phil.
Whatever. No,
They've gone
Got
for it.
nothing left.
the Ian Beals. The Beals. That's it.
I've got the Toms to our livery, so.
No,
Oh, that
makes
works. That
sense,
just works.
actually.
Get
That's what I mean. It
with-
just works.
Yeah. That's good branding, is what that is.
It is.
That's great. That's good from you.
All right.
Get the cat from Tom and Jerry on the side.
Yeah.
Driver lineup.
Has to be current grid.
Current grid. 2 drivers who will work together. Important.
That's
you can't
not the
just
idea
pick-
I had.
You can't. You can't. Well, you can. You're entitled. But the 2 drivers that you would choose if you had free choice.
See, look, I'm a bit of a radical team principal. CEO, actually. And I just want chaos.
Okay.
So
In your own
I would
team.
have Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
Yeah. That's
Imagine.
That would be chaos.
Imagine. That would be amazing.
I'm getting P1. I'm leaving with something. I don't know who's getting P1.
P1 or nothing.
P1 or nothing.
P1 or nothing.
HR's going to have a
no
record
number one-
amount of complaints.
No number one driver. That's the first line in their
You
contracts.
can't do any team meets because the Verstappen and Hamilton fans would just be fighting each other.
Oh.
You can't.
And I'll tell them, do you want to win constructors or what? Guys, care about the team.
You can have a grandstand like you got the grandstand like Austria where it's
Yeah.
just all the like you couldn't have an equivalent of that because it'd just be everyone
Half
infighting.
orange, half silver.
Mate,
Just be a brawl immediately.
Just throwing smoke bombs at each other.
yeah.
that would be incredible. It'd be like Arsenal fan. It's like Wenger in, Wenger out. It'd be like that.
Yeah. That
kind of
would
dynamic.
be ridiculous.
It would be lovely. We need that chaos.
Be lovely,
Sometimes
wouldn't
we
it?
need chaos in F1. Like, I'm so looking forward to Alpine next season. I need that.
That's it.
The fact that these two drivers' parents can't be at the paddock at the same time. What?
Really?
Yeah, I heard that they have to go on separate days.
Really?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Aye, F1 parents.
Because they're
even is gonna
beefing
be
each
a
other.
Mess.
I heard they're
my
beefing each other.
days. Oh, come on.
Allegedly.
Oh, so it comes from the parents, allegedly.
From like karting days or whatever.
Wow.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Who's that kid said allegedly?
This is all alleged, ladies.
Allegedly.
That's
Hopefully they're fine. No.
Well, you'd hope they can put it behind them and not,
Yeah. But
like
yeah.
in
for-
the
so
back
for
of
my
their
garage.
sons' careers.
So for my driver pairing, I want chaos and excellence.
Okay.
Lewis and Max.
What are you saying?
oh, flipping it.
It's tough, isn't it?
It's tough out here. Listen, right, so it's Vibes F1 settings.
I think I know who I'm going to go for.
I'm sure.
And it's a bit off-piste, but I think in terms of working together really well to extract everything they can from a competitive package, bring back Carl Lando. Lando Norris,
That would work.
Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
I think Carlos has got more to show. I think Lando's got more to show. I think they work together really well. I think even when push comes to shove, I think they could find a way more than most teammate pairings can make to make it work. So Carl Lando.
Carl Lando's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Orlando, bring it back.
I think for me, given the nature of my team, I'm going to have to go for 2 individuals that know what to do when they're in Barbados. Yeah.
You're just pinning your whole team.
Vibes.
The
GP.
headquarters is going to be there. No, actually, no. It needs to be low tax, doesn't it? Yeah.
Remember the paddock back in the day, Red Bull, when they first came in?
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
just
yeah.
playing like electronic music all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, all day.
Just
Yeah.
doom, 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 whatever.
Who are these uncouth team who've turned up? All this snobbery around F1.
Actually, that's another thing. Sponsorship. We're going to be We're going to do a little deal with Red Bull. Yeah, for their engines or powertrains, whatever. We're going to run them if they sponsor us, and then I'll get Jägermeister as well to sponsor
Nice.
too. So 3 Jäger bombs for everyone in the paddock. It's sorted.
That's Super GT's dream. Isn't it? Big up, Steve.
I think it's my second drive. I'm going to go with Lando
Yeah.
because I think as a raver, I think he's pretty solid there.
DJ now, isn't it?
DJ is
He is multifaceted.
DJ,
DJ.
for the part. Oh my!
He's the DJ and he's the nightclub photographer.
It
as well.
works.
Oh my
There you go.
days!
Ticks every box.
This is ivibesgp.jpg. It's gonna go off
I just claim that Instagram account right now.
right now.
Claim
That
it.
better
Lando,
not
I know you're
exist.
watching.
Claim
Okay,
it.
Better not exist.
have a word.
And then there's a second driver. Who else? Who else is like a?
Who would compliment Lando?
Who would compliment?
That's the
Lando?
thing. That's
What,
where
in the rave?
In the rave.
yeah, him and Max get along well.
Yeah, I was thinking
always
that.
see them in the
I
club.
was thinking that. Yeah. And for sporting excellence as well, that would be kind of crazy.
I think they would.
And hear this, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it's like an onion. There's like layer after layer.
oh my,
Keep going.
this is nuts. So obviously Lando come off the back of driving in an orange car
Okay.
at McLaren.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen's branding is orange.
Yeah.
My car is orange, bro. Orange arrows.
Oh.
There's no need for anyone to change any branding.
Lando
at all.
always jokes about that. It's like, oh, the McLaren fans here today.
Yeah, it's handful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is from McLaren guys, not not
yeah.
Orange Army.
Sorted, yeah. Lando and Max. That's what I'm going for.
That would be a
For pure vibe.
tasty. Well, there was. I think
And also,
Red Bull,
ability.
Red Bull did kind of try and court Lando, didn't they?
Many a time. So
Maybe one day it will happen. We'll see. Well, I mean, I think they're
it
pretty,
might happen.
pretty solid teams, I'd say.
But that's solid teams.
Yeah.
Those are crazy.
Decent. All right, okay.
My
Moving on.
Christmas party is the best out of the lot, though. I'm telling you facts.
We're going to your Christmas party. DJ Khaled's there as well.
Want to talk about... Mate, just Lando on the decks is just funny to me, man. Want to talk about Max briefly. Max talking about his future, because right now, Max Verstappen, through everything he says, through his, the esports stuff he does, off track as well, is very much, it feels like racing is that's his thing, right? In terms of he doesn't seem to, not at least publicly, do much in a way outside
Yep, of racing.
of racing.
Yeah.
But he's talked about his future numerous times and maybe indicate that he wouldn't be doing it long term.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be like a Fernando Alonso? Probably not. But he talked about Le Mans, wouldn't write that off in the future. Wouldn't do IndyCar. But do you think
Wouldn't do IndyCar.
Wouldn't do IndyCar.
A lot,
man,
no, a lot
yeah,
of
but-
these drivers are scared of IndyCar. They
They
don't want to
are.
do ovals.
Which
It is crazy, to be fair.
Ovals are scary.
they are scary.
Yeah.
Like when
mean,
you
they're far
shunt,
safer though,
you
but-
yeah, but like
Yeah.
when you shunt.
Yeah.
Oh, we saw
You're
what,
flying through
Colton
the air.
Hurt last year. What? Indy.
Sketchy,
scary.
man. But this is what I think what makes Indy so good is that it teaches you in a lot of different ways, a lot of different like kind of fundamental. But do we think this? Because it's hard for me. Like Max says this, but then the evidence, as much as we can see from the outside looking in, anyway, seems to suggest that racing is his life and by far and away the biggest thing in his life. So, do we think we're going to get a Max Verstappen that stays in F1 because he's still super young, stays in F1 well into his 30s? Like,
I personally think if he wins a lot, like back to back like championships, and he's gets like 6, 7, 8, whatever, he'll retire quite early.
I think it's because of like as well. It's like all relative as well. He started so early, so like a lot of people look at his stats at his age and go, "Oh my god, he's better than that guy because he's got this amount of wins at age whatever."
Yeah.
But he's been in the sport for this is he's like 7th season now, or is it 8?
Wait, 2015 to now. So this will be his 8th season. No, or 9th?
This will be his 9th.
Yeah, 9th. Bloody hell. That's a long time. That's somebody's whole career.
Yeah, that's some driver's whole career already. So I think, relatively speaking, I think he probably. I mean, there's no reason why he can't carry on because, again, like age, like Fernando Alonso is showing that you can still be so competitive into your 40s even. But I just think, as someone who got into the sport so quickly, he might not lose a love for it, but might decide that his time has arrived earlier than someone else.
Yes,
It's
because he knows
motivation
nothing
is
How
else.
many seasons you're in the
These
sport.
drivers know nothing else. Like most of them start when they're 8.
Yeah.
Verstappen was starting when he was like 4,
Yeah.
probably. Like Jos got him in straight. Like you've kind of got that military like approach that so many of these drivers have to take to get the opportunities to then get the experience and the skill to make it to F1.
Yeah, 1,000.
So my point is, if he wins a lot, then maybe the motivation dies a bit. He's like, F1 completed it, mate. And
Oh, that's what Rosberg did.
yeah, and that could kind of shorten his career if that's the case. But let's say, for example, he has a couple close title battles, he loses a couple, and he's like, that's the motivation, that's the trigger. Okay, I need to get that back. If that happens and he gets into a lot of title battles that are quite close, he'll stay in F1 much longer. And it depends on the team as well.
Yeah.
Can you see him staying at Red Bull for his entire career?
When you look at F1 and look at all the F1 drivers, they do not stay at the same team throughout their career. Is that going to be the case? Is Max Verstappen going to be the outlier? Who knows? If Red Bull one day just does not have a competitive car, he'll be out that door because people will be like knocking on his door saying, "Come to our team."
Yeah. I hear it.
That's the thing. Like you say, motivation. When Lewis moved to Mercedes, he was motivated by a new challenge, taking a team that was struggling and building something kind of like Michael Schumacher did when he went to Ferrari. Sebastian Vettel, when he left Red Bull to Ferrari, he was motivated by the dream of winning and doing what Michael did at Ferrari.
Yeah.
Nico Rosberg won and then retired. Kimi Räikkönen carried on until, his skills started to fall off ultimately. And it's like all these drivers are motivated differently. I would just be, It's one of them as well. Like, Max is still mid-20s.
Yeah.
Do you even know? Like, sometimes you just don't even know what motivates you. Like,
We would never know what motivates Max
no,
right now.
He might not even know what
Exactly.
motivates him. You know what I mean?
And what motivates him now will change over that time as well. Like, whatever his goals now are in Formula One, 5 years from now, he might go.
You look at
"Actually, no, I kinda want to
Vettel's
do
character arc as well.
Yeah, 1,000. So,
Like, it was all about, it was ruthless on track.
so you're saying he's going to get long hair, Max?
Maybe, like with Vettel, the same
looked good
time,
with long hair.
with Vettel's, his situation, the motivation kind of died because he was no longer in cars that are winning races. And he's in a situation before where he was winning races quite a lot, or at least had a car that was up there.
Yeah.
So it really, if it gets to a situation where he's in an uncompetitive car, he's going to jump ship, and then that's a new motivation, and then just keep carrying on. I don't know. There's people like Fernando Alonso, they're like a bit of an outlier. Because this guy just races. It don't matter. The guy left F1. He was doing up every single racing series.
See, this is what. So if I had to, if it wasn't for the statements Max has made about there's more to life than F1 and blah, 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 I would have assumed that Max would go like Fernando, where get your own museum with a karting track. Whenever you're not racing, you're like racing in cars. You're like racing in cars. You're like, because Fernando still loves it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. He's been able to keep that motivation, and he's motivated enough to stay in F1 and still want to be at the pinnacle of motorsport. He's 41 now. That's incredible.
Fernando will still be driving when he's like 50.
You have to assume.
something.
You have to assume right now, as we speak, Fernando Alonso's racing somewhere in a go kart somewhere. He must be doing something. That's how he's love for racing that much. But it's right now, Verstappen, he's got how many wins? He's got 2 titles now. If he wins a couple more, he's already part of the greats of the sport. When you get to that point, when you start winning like 3, 4, 5. Some people don't even win races in Formula One. And he's already got that. So right now he's in the position of, like when you complete a video game and then you're just doing side missions now. Just like
That's a good way of putting it.
That's a shout.
playing GTA, he's delivering pizzas. Like he's not doing the game anymore. He's completed the game. You get me?
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, but that's what I find interesting as well. Like in 95% of ways, all of these drivers are just human beings like you and like us. Like they're just, and we're all different. We all are. But it's just it's that thing that makes them special. That they've got that talent, and it's just how far do they take that? Do you do a Rosberg or do you do a Alonso? They're prime
How
examples.
dedicated are you to keep that going?
The craft, which there's no right or wrong answer.
No, because people are all
whatever.
different. Like Rosberg was like, won a title, I'm out.
Well, even like with Daniel taking a year out, a lot of people have criticised that move, but ultimately he feels like that's the best move for him as a human being, as a person.
Yeah.
And as long as he's making the right decision by him, then that is the right decision.
And it doesn't really matter what fans think or anybody outside. That's his decision on what he wants to do. If Max Verstappen decides, okay, after, I don't know, 10 years, I'll just packing it in, rather not race, that's up to him. If he wants to be driving esports, let him do that.
Yeah.
1,000.
That's it. Right. We're going to wrap up with the segment that we always wrap up with now.
We all know and love.
The equal machinery segment.
Indeed.
What do we do for this, Niran?
Well,
Explain the rules.
we are all assigned a driver that may well be in the news or that may well be topical right now. And we have to argue that we think that in equal machinery, our driver would come out on top. So we've had Lewis, Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel. It was up to one of us, having been assigned, to debate that our driver would win.
Whether or not you believe that.
Whether or not you believe it or not. And then at the end, we all have to guess whether each person was being totally honest.
Yeah.
Or whether they were just spinning us a lie.
But we've gone a bit left field with this one.
We have, yeah.
We've gone with the Schumacher name.
Yes, because Mick Schumacher, obviously, having just arrived as a Mercedes reserve driver,
Putting himself back on the map.
Putting himself back on the map. There's obviously been multiple other Schumachers on the map. So today, we're going to argue which Schumacher would come out on top in equal machinery.
So I've been assigned Ralph.
Nice. Big ups Ralph Schumacher.
Niran's been assigned Mick.
I have got Mick Schumacher, yes.
And Mahad has been assigned Michael Schumacher.
Heard of him?
I've never heard of him. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, good luck, Mahad.
I'm gonna have to do a Wikipedia search. Right now.
Jesus Christ.
I want Niran to go first.
That's fine. That's completely understandable.
Because obviously,
Obviously, we all know that he is the best. So, realistically.
Well, you got the easiest job here. So I'm going to give you a minute and a half.
Yeah, that's
We
fine.
did this last time. This seemed to work quite well.
Fill a minute.
To make the calls for Mick Schumacher being the best Schumacher in equal machinery.
All right, okay, here we go.
Go.
Now, look, listen, Mick Schumacher, the pedigree this guy's got, especially in the junior formulas, woof, serious business. F3 champion, probably F4 champion, but definitely F2 champion. Yeah, in a field that was extremely strong, a seriously competitive field. Yeah, he's come up into Formula One, into a difficult Haas car. He's only spun it a few times. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? This car to drive is one of the worst. It is the worst car in recent Formula One history. Yeah, it was a wheelbarrow, bro, in terms of handling. Yeah, he's come up through the ranks as the Formula.
I see you looking at that clock, man.
How long have I got to film?
Maybe you could have a minute.
As a Formula 2 champion, he's only written off a few cars. As I said, he's shown pace alongside Kevin Magnussen. He's equaled him at times. And Kevin Magnussen, obviously, an experienced driver within Formula
That's
One.
a minute. That's what you're getting.
I thought that was pretty decent still.
I think, how many times did he repeat himself there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
How many times did you talk
Is he
about?
an F2 champion? I don't know.
Nah,
I'm not sure.
Never heard that before.
I honestly don't know if he was an F4 champion. But
Should
game's the game.
have brought up karting or something.
Should have karting. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Boom.
Me, Ralph
Honestly,
Schumacher.
I think yours might even be the hardest here.
Right, so Ralph, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the Schumacher name carries a lot of weight to it. And Ralph, I think, was genuinely a very overlooked and underrated driver. Consistent package, multiple podiums throughout his career. How many? I don't know. But alas, he did get on the podium on a number of occasions.
At least one time.
Hey, he got podiums. I'm pretty sure he got some podiums alongside his brother, Michael, who, in equal machinery, they never were. Michael always had the Ferrari. Ralph had to stick with the Williams, which, was an okay package, but nothing on the kind of Ferrari dominance years. And you know what? It's just one of those drivers that, if the opportunity to present... Stop. If the opportunity had presented itself, I think he would have been the fastest driver, greatest to ever do it. Quicker than... Why are you laughing? Sorry. Producer Lewis laughed and it put me off. And I've taken 59 seconds.
I think a minute is it. I think a minute.
He was speaking slowly to fill up time.
Yeah, he was.
Nah, what do you mean?
I think he might have got
I'm just trying to be
a podium.
more concise
podium.
with my words. So I don't say all the time.
Yeah, no. To be fair, Ralph Schumacher actually was a pretty decent driver.
Well, look,
BMW Williams.
it was...
Cooking.
Yeah.
Pablo Montoya and
But Mahad, you've got Michael Schumacher to go for.
good luck, man.
1 minute. We go.
His name is Michael Schumacher. That's my argument. Michael
4
Schumacher,
seconds.
second most wins in Formula One history, 7 titles, dragged that Benetton team to 2 titles. Then he said, completed F1. Let me go to Ferrari and fix that mess. Went over to Ferrari, multiple titles, multiple titles in a row. Dragged that. If you see the Michael Schumacher documentary, this guy was in testing, driving in the dark in a Formula One car. If that ain't dedication to the craft, he built that car by his hand, with his own hands. One of the greatest Formula One cars of all time. And he said, Ross Brawn, Jean Todt, come with me. I'm going to bring you to the light. I'm going to bring you multiple titles. And he brought Maranello to the apex of Formula One. Michael Schumacher, one of the greatest drivers of all time.
That's one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. That was
from a McLaren fan. I hated Michael Schumacher growing up.
That was sick. He built a car with his own hand.
He crafted that.
He got the grease under his fingernails.
He mined the materials and built the car.
The raw, oh mate, like, you know what? When you put it like that, it is mad. The fact that he won those titles with Benetton
In a car he should.
and saw Ferrari, and we know how much of a mess Ferrari are prepared to be.
Yeah,
we know that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
For someone to come in and turn it around and win 5 titles in a row.
Nuts.
But the major factor to that is that he brought his Benetton guys with him. He's like, I'm not dealing with you guys.
Well, because it was.
I'm like, I need to bring my people.
Jean Todt was already there, but then Brawn was Benetton, wasn't
Brawn
he?
was Benetton.
Yeah.
Brought a couple people from
Yeah.
But it took a while as well. It's not like it was instantaneous as well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, because like he would join in '96, right?
Yeah.
That.
and
But it's
those
quite- 'cause
struggle years.
what year did he? Was he Silverstone? He broke his.
99.
That was 99.
Because he really should have won the title then.
Yeah.
And then Eddie
broke
Irvine nearly won it.
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah,
if
says a lot.
Eddie Irvine had won a
Irvine in
Formula
the
1
history of Formula One.
Yo,
Right there.
that's actually.
So I
That,
thi-
that season killed me because I remember Coulthard and Hakkinen crashing into each other. in
Yeah.
Austria. I was like, what's the point of this, man? What are you guys doing?
Coulthard was icy cold, man, when he was
a reckless
driving.
guy.
Listen, he put himself about. So what do we who do we think was telling the truth?
Yeah. First of all, for me, do you guys think that I was telling the truth there?
Okay, so
being honest.
how good of a job did Niran do? I guess I think that's more the question, because obviously it's Michael Schumacher. But what I'm saying is, who did the best
We
job?
have wheel knowledge, guys.
Who did the best job telling our story, respective? Because you did repeat yourself a lot.
A lot. I ran out of content very quickly. Like 20 seconds in, I was like, this guy crashed a lot. He mashed Magnussen.
You're meant to be promoting him, not talking about how many times he's.
No, but he only crashed a certain amount.
No,
It
no,
should have been more.
Okay, so that's a good thing. Okay.
It was under the value that it should have
Okay.
been. You get me?
I
So it
see,
wasn't.
yeah.
Mick had a
okay.
budget cap just for himself.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, when you close your eyes at night, all you're going to see is F2 champion Mick Schumacher.
F2 champion. It's just written there. I can see the graphic in my mind.
Okay.
Little reef.
What about me with Ralph?
I think you did a good job. You named the podium.
I'm
He's won some races.
You know
as well,
what?
man.
He got multiple podiums.
You probably
He got
still
multiple
underrated
wins.
him.
I was completely just assuming he's got multiple podiums. I don't actually know if that's true.
No, I think
He definitely does because
Hang on.
that Williams and
I
that
saw him win a race.
0102. That Williams was actually really good.
That's what I mean.
After that, don't know.
I've
but
just opened a video on YouTube. How the hell have I managed that? No, I want to check how many.
No, 6 wins.
Bruv, ahead of me.
6
man.
wins.
6
How many
wins.
podiums?
I didn't
27
mention
podiums.
any of them.
Come
27
on.
podiums.
Come
This guy's
on.
10 years, Peugeot.
8 fastest
Honda.
laps. 6 poles.
Yeah, I could have done a better
He's that
job.
guy, man.
My wheel knowledge needs some.
To be fair, I
some
didn't know
work.
we'd got that many podiums. I thought you had
Yeah.
Do you know what I would have said? I would have said he is better than the majority of the F1 group right now.
Yeah. Probably. Where would he finish? I think he would.
I do think he's underrated.
He is
for sure.
underrated.
He's like top 5.
He's just written off because he's not Michael. You know what I mean? But actually, there's merit to Ralph for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think you did a very good job at like the nitty gritty of what made Schumacher great.
I just think any driver that's doing testing at night time in a Formula One car.
No.
Yeah,
That's outrageous.
They're insane behavior.
That's pretty mad.
That is
He was
crazy.
there till 10 p.m.
So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Confirmation that Michael Schumacher is the best Schumacher of all time. I know it was a burning question. That there was a lot of.
We're sorry, David.
It needed.
Yes. Oh yeah, David as well. David. Anyone want to?
He's on his way
done
up.
for him?
No, nephew David Schumacher. He's on his way up, man. He's on his way up.
He's
You
on the
never know
way.
one day.
He's on the way. Next, Michael.
Right, should we wrap it?
We shall indeed. We shall indeed. That has been the Last Lap podcast. Thank you very much once again, Mahad, for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Let the people know where they can find
Where
you.
are you?
So, Pit Stop Fracker, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're going to be doing a lot of content, so catch us on that. And McLaren Fan TV, same. We're going to be doing loads of content over the off season, building up to the new season. And find us on YouTube and Twitter.
Pleasure. Thank you all for coming. Don't forget to, if you're YouTube.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. If you are listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. If you're watching on SoundCloud, then this has definitely been pirated. You can follow us on TikTok as well. Loads of content over there. Insta, Twitter. You guys know the score by now. Until next time, in a bit.
Ciao, adios. We are done.
Bye, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, man. Good shit.
That was good, man.
I love that everyone.